we are opened up to the next clean page in our math notebooks, and we're going to be ready to take our notes. All right, so today our title is 5.6, use estimation to place the first digit. And today's date, which is 9/28/20. So 5.6, use estimation to place the first digit. And today's date, 9/28/20. So up to this point, we've been practicing division, right? Finding quotients. Some went in evenly. Some answers or some quotients had remainders. Today we're taking a step back and just practicing figuring out where the first digit in our quotient goes in the answer. So I think you're going to catch on to this pretty quickly. So put a thumbs up on your desk, please, when you are ready to move on. Awesome. I see a few people still finishing up getting the date or the rest of the title up top. Awesome. So 5.6, use estimation to place the first digit in today's date, which is 9/28/20. All right, so hello, Mrs. Roach. Yes, we did. Start again. All right, so we're ready to move on to the next part. So we're going to go right into practice, and what it is placing the first digit of the quotient. So go ahead and label that. Place the first digit of the quotient. The side chatter needs to be off. Thank you. So place the first digit of the quotient. In what? Quotient? Yep, Q-U-O-T-I-E-N-T. Place the first digit of the quotient. So this is our practice section. Please make sure you are talking to me before going out in the hallway. That is a safety reason. If we were in a lockdown and I didn't know you were out there, I would not be opening the door for you. So you need to make sure you are talking to me before you go out. Okay, so place the first digit of the quotient. Voices off, please. Okay, I see a few people finishing up. So what we're going to do is we are going to have a few practice problems, and then there's going to be a part where you kind of explain in your own words what we're doing, okay? That's what our practice is going to look like today. So what we're first going to do is get down these 4 practice problems. And now, do you guys notice how I didn't leave a lot of space between them? That's because we are not solving. Jack P, turn around and face the smartboard. It's because we are not solving these. We are simply figuring out where the first place of the quotient will be. And I'll explain what that means here in a moment. So go ahead and get these down. Number 1 is 2,535 divided by 12. Number 2 is 8,045 divided by 24. Number 3, 7,905 divided by 35. Number 4, 4,839 divided by 15. So again, like I said, you don't need to leave a lot of room between them because we aren't fully solving these. Go ahead and put a thumbs up when you have all 4 of these practice problems written down. One. I did want to let you guys know that I really appreciate the care and time you've been putting into taking notes. I know getting the notes down isn't always the easiest thing in the world because you're all trying really hard to get it down just as I have it. And so I just wanted to say, you guys have been doing a great job with your notebooks. Every time I come and walk around and look, you guys are writing everything down, which is exactly what you should be, and you're taking the time to make it neat so that it is a good example for you guys to look back on. So I just wanted to say, great job so far with your math notebooks. All right, does anyone need more time with this? All right, so this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to do the first one together, and like I said, I think you guys are going to catch on real quick. So, like it says at the top of our notes, we're using estimation to place the first digit. So we're placing the first digit of our quotient. Who can raise their hand and remind me, what is a quotient? What is a quotient? What is it, Will? It's the answer to a division problem. So that number that you get at the top, and sometimes you add a remainder to it, that's our quotient. That is the answer to our division problems. Well, does it say solve the quotient for the directions? No, all we're doing is placing the first digit of the quotient. So, if we look at number 1, basically what we're doing, you guys, is we're thinking, okay, 12 going into 2,535. We just need to find out where the first digit of our answer is going to go. So we do that by asking, and we already do this, can 12 go into 2? No. So are we going to put any digit above this 2? No. Can 12 go into 25? Yes. So where is the first digit of our quotient going to go? Raise your hand. Where is the first digit of our quotient going to go? Elena? Above the 5. It's going to go right here, right? So I'm going to put an X, marking that's where it's going to go. And then we're going to ask, we're going to take it a step further and just figure out what is the first digit going to be. So 12 going into 25. How many times does 12 go into 25? Show me on your hands. 12 goes into 25 2 times. So then I'm going to put a 2 above the X. So there's a 2. Sorry. Should have done that a little clearer. Have we placed the first digit of our quotient? That's all that we're doing. So let's look at number 2. 24 going to 8,045. What do we ask ourselves first? What's the first thing we're going to ask? Addie? Okay. Who can help Addie out? Michael? Yeah. Can 24 go into 8? No. Then what's the next thing we're going to ask? What's the next thing we're going to ask, Mackenzie? Can 24 go into 80? Yes. So the first digit of our quotient will start above the 0, so we'll put an X. And then we're going to take it a step further and ask, how many times does 24 go into 80? Show me on your hand. What do you think? How many times does 24 go into 80? Three times. I saw some 4s, but that would actually go over 80. So then we'll put our 3 above the X. Yep. Okay, what I'd like you to do next is do number 3 and number 4 on your own. When you're done and you see that your partner is done, whisper and compare your answers. I will know you are done and you have compared when you either have a thumbs up on your desk or you're quietly reading. Or just sitting and waiting quietly. That works too. And if you need to go off to the side and do some multiplication to find out what that first digit will be, you can do that. We only have one other thing we're putting on our notes to do have to do. Okay? Yes, because sometimes if you look at I can't see how many times like on a test, or even in real life, I'll look at people's births, like they're dividing, and they have the digits right, but they're in the wrong place because they didn't think where is the first digit of my quotient gonna go. So they have the right numbers, but they're in the wrong places, so that changes the value of the number. You know, like if you have a 1 and a 2, that would be 12. If you shift over 1, then it's suddenly 120. So by thinking through that, that is a quick little check for yourself when you're dividing in your life. Making sure that those numbers are in the right place. When you see that your partner is ready, you can compare the answers. See if you guys got the same place and the same number. Is 15, then 15 is 3, 15 is 30, 5, and then 1 All right, let's check our answers together. So, number 3. We should have asked ourselves, does 35 go into 7? No, it doesn't. Does 35 go into 79? Yes, so everyone should have placed an X above the 9. That is where our first digit's going to be. Then we should have asked, okay, how many times does 35 go into 79? Show me on your hands. How many times does 35 go into 79 without going over? It goes in twice. Because 35 plus 35 is 70. Yep. So then we should have put a 2. How many of you got number 3 correct? Okay. How many of you at least put the X in the right spot? How many of you put the X in the right spot? Okay. Awesome. All right, now let's look at number 4. Number 4, we should have asked ourselves, can 15 go into 4? No, it can't. 4 is too small. Can 15 go into 48? Yes. Okay, so then we should have put the X above the 8. Raise your hand if you put the X above the 8. Raise your hand if you put the X above the 8. Awesome. Go ahead, put your hands down. Then we should have asked, how many times does 15 go into 48? Go ahead and show me on your hand. How many times does 15 go into 48? How many times? All right, I see some 3s. I saw a few 2s. It's actually 3 because 15 plus 15 is 30. And then if you add a third 15, that's 45. So that's 3. All right. I would like you to show me on your hand 1 through 5. How do you feel about this? Finding out where the first digit goes and just figuring out what that first digit is. 1 through 5, how do we feel about this? Jeff, okay. Jeff L. and Rosius, I'd like to see a number from you as well. 1 through 5, how are we feeling about this skill? Okay? Okay. Awesome. Go ahead, put your hands down. The last thing we're going to do, and we're going to write this down, talk about it, and then you're going to write your answer to the question. Okay? So, it's a quick question. or not really a question, but it says, explain how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. So I want you to go ahead and write that down in your notebook. Write that down in your notebook. Explain how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. Once you have this written down, put a thumbs up. I don't want you to answer it yet. Explain how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. And then put a thumbs up when you're done. Explain how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. The quotient, remember, is QUOT IE and T. Thumbs up when you have that written down. Explain how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. Thank you for taking the time to write it neatly and making sure you have it written down just like I do. Okay, does anyone need more time? Okay, what I want you to do is think to yourself, after, us practicing placing the first digit of the quotient, I want you to think in your head, how would I explain what we did to someone else? I want you to think about that first. How would you explain what we did to someone else? Explaining how to place or figure out where the first digit goes. How would you put that into your own words? Then what I want you to do, before you write it down, turn and share your own words, your own explanation with the person next to you. So turn and share how you would phrase that. Who would like to share their explanation with the class? Who would like to share their explanation with the class? Will? It's the number where the visitors can stay and you're close. It's the number where the divisor. Yep. So divisor. Yep. So Will, you're right. Just make sure you use the word divisor. That's the number we're dividing by. Who else would like to share their explanation with the class? How would you explain this to someone else who doesn't know how to place the first digit in a quotient? Who else would like to share? Should be writing it. Who would like to share out loud their explanation? I heard some good ones as I was walking around. I know not just Will came up with a good explanation. Anyone else want to share? All right, then I want you to write down your explanation. Write down your explanation. Go ahead, write down how you would explain how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. Make sure you are using words in your explanation. It's okay to have an example off to the side, but you should still be explaining. You should not be just writing C examples. That's not explaining. Explain in words. You can have an example, but you should be explaining with words. In case you want to use one of these words in your explanation, divisor, and put a thumbs up on your desk when you have your explanation written down. How you would explain to someone else how to figure out where the first digit of the quotient goes. And for my distance learners, just so you remember, oops. I have some two words you might want to use. Divisor and dividend. So your divisor is the number you're dividing by, and your dividend is the number you're dividing. So you may want to use those two words in your explanation. Does anyone need more time writing down their explanation? Okay, I'm going to give you another moment. Now some of you are finishing up. Thank you to those of you who are patiently waiting. I see a lot of people did write an explanation and they also have an example. Great. And even if you don't have an example, that's also great. You just use words. guys feel like you could explain to someone else how to place the first digit of a quotient? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at our homework for tonight. So I would like you in your workbook, please open up to page 273. Cool. 273. Okay, 273. Two, 7, 3. All right, these are the numbers you will be circling for your homework. You should be circling number 4, number 7, number 11, number 13, number 14, and number 20. I will say the numbers again, so we're on 273. That's the 6th time I've said the page number. You should have circled number 4, number 7, number 11, number 13, number 14, and number 20. I'm going to go ahead and turn on some work music. You guys are going to have about 10 minutes to work on your math homework. Capiche? Quickly remind me, what should your volume level be during this time? I see 0. When can you whisper? Yep. If you have a question for someone that has to do with your math homework, or if you're coming over to me for help. So go ahead.